It has been quite the rough last 11 days, you guys. So, as most of you are probably aware, I had posted on the community tab on my YouTube channel a while back that our videos schedule was getting a little bit off because of some unexpected events that were happening, and the last video that you got was not the video you were supposed to be getting. Honestly, I was supposed to have recorded the beneficial bugs video, and that was the video you were going to get, but I have not recorded that because of what happened. And so you ended up getting that video, and if you guys have watched that video, you will remember that Toby did come to visit us in the middle of that video. I had mentioned that he was crying, and I wasn't sure why he was crying. I also think I told you guys that he had, a week before that, had the last of his molars pulled, and so I was kind of thinking maybe he was crying because, you know, he was still recovering from that. And after that, I think about a week after that, I noticed he still wasn't eating as much, and he seemed to be losing weight, and I was worried that perhaps something hadn't healed right in his mouth, so I took him to the vet. And they did blood work. He had had blood work done about a month and a half before that, and his blood work was totally fine a month and a half before that. They did blood work this time, and when they got it in, they called me back and said that his kidney numbers were elevated. So they wanted me to bring him back in. They wanted to check his blood pressure and some other things. And the vet that examined him that next day that I brought him back said that he was feeling around on his abdomen and it felt like his kidneys were enlarged. So we ended up doing an ultrasound. Sorry, you guys. And the vet basically came back and said his kidneys didn't even look like kidneys. So I took him back home. We made plans to have him see a specialist. Actually, they ended up getting him in with an oncologist, I think about 4 days after that, because it was going to take a month to get him in with an internal medicine specialist. And they did some more diagnostic tests on him and determined that he had cancer in both of his kidneys, and obviously a highly aggressive form for it to have gone from him being totally fine, having perfectly fine blood work a month and a half before that, to being at that stage. And they also determined that he did have slight heart failure going on. So I brought him home from the oncologist, and basically they just told me you could have days, you could have weeks. So obviously I quit really working on anything just to spend time with him. And I had to make that tough call of not letting things get too bad, but not, doing things too early. So it's been a rough time, you guys. It's really been a rough time. And yesterday I had to say goodbye to him. I think this is one of the hardest ones I've had to do, because honestly, it went from being me, Toby, and his older sister and his dad to just me, Toby, his dad, and then a week after that to just me and Toby. And it's been just me and Toby ever since then. So since end of April 2020, it's just been me and him. So this has been definitely a difficult one for me. I'm definitely happy that he's not, you know, uncomfortable anymore, because I think I made the decision at the right time, you guys, but he was not doing well, obviously. And, you know, the oncologist did say with what he had, it wasn't like it was super painful or anything like that. He just really felt bad. Like when you're sick, you just feel bad. You aren't necessarily in pain or you need pain medicine or anything like that. You just feel bad. But regardless, you guys, it's just been a really, really, really rough last 11 days. And the fact that it progressed that rapidly was just crazy to me. And honestly, a lot of people are probably questioning why I'm even making this video right now, but I was struggling with going back and forth on how to tell you guys, because so many of you out there, like, have expressed your love of Toby. And I mean, everybody loves Toby, but Toby, there's not been a sweeter cat I have ever met in my entire life, you guys. And I mean, it's gonna be hard for me, but I basically feel like just talking it out, sharing it with you guys, and then also asking you guys, what I would really like if you could do is comment down below with some of your favorite Toby moments from videos, or some of the things that you really liked about Toby. I feel like it would really help me to just read from other people, you know, their thoughts on Toby and how much they love Toby and things like that. And I'm gonna just kind of do some things today, because also my parents did come up here, but they just left earlier today, and so this is also my first time just being in the house literally by myself for the first time in a long time. And I will say that by some miracle, my plants in my main collection have fared pretty well. Nobody's died. We've got some that got a little bit too droopy for a moment there, but they've recovered. However, I will say the import plants from the last order did not fare as well. I dry rotted a ridiculous number of them and have had to restart them in water. I mean, I'm just looking at all of the pots of the ones. I mean, I'm going to show you guys in a second, but it's bad. It's bad. I dry rotted a lot of them. I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, I mean, Toby was my priority. 100% he was my priority. And I don't know, but right now I need a distraction, and plants are what helped me get through my divorce. I know that this is what's gonna help me get through this, is just focusing on them, caring for them now, getting everybody kind of back up into shape, as it were. It's just gonna be the healthy distraction that I need. So let me go ahead and take you guys in the kitchen and show you the ridiculous aftermath of what went down with those imports. All right, you guys, so here are all of the containers from all of the plants that I dry rotted, and if I'm being honest with you, I think there might be a few over there on the kitchen table as well, and it's a lot. As you can see, it is a lot, and what really upsets me even more is you can see how much aroid mix we have here, how much of my epiphyte mix we have that came out of those pots. Now, this actually was still fresh left over from the last pot up I did, but everything else came from those plants that I dry rotted, and I really do not want to waste all of this mix. I honestly just can't afford to. It's a lot of money in those bowls. And so I think what I'm going to try to do today is do some sort of sterilization on this. Now, I'm not going to be able to sterilize it as well as like some facility, a nursery facility that actually reuses soil and has the proper equipment to sterilize does, but I'm going to do my best to kind of treat this so that I feel comfortable using it again. So we're going to do that today, and then also we're going to take a look at the plants that I've had to put in water and kind of see how everyone's doing and go from there. Well, you guys, full disclosure, it is actually a few days later now, right after I finished filming that bit that you just watched. My friend Megan had texted me, and her husband Chris just lost their dog about a month ago now, and so they kind of know what I'm going through, and she suggested that I get out of the house. And so I ended up on Sunday, after I filmed what you just saw, going with her to watch her husband and some of his friends play in a hockey game. And it probably was good to get out of the house, honestly, but since then, like, I don't know, my motivation has been pretty low. I've spent quite a few hours just laying here in bed. I did try to get some work done on my computer, but once again, laying here in bed. There's obviously been a lot of like tears on and off, things like that. I still have not sterilized the soil that I was talking about. We may still do that in this video. If not, we might do it in a different video, but there's just some other things going on that I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So let me back up for a second. So I am one of those people where, well, let me back up even beyond that. When there's something that happens like what happened with Toby, I never know like what's the best thing to do with like their stuff. So you saw I did donate some of his stuff to one of the local pet shelters, and then for all of my animals I do keep a box of keepsakes that has like some of their favorite toys, his favorite blanket, things like that. So obviously I went ahead and I did that with all of his toys and things like that. And then there was the question of like other things. So, for example, in my bedroom, you guys know he had that cat house in the window that he liked to get up and sit on. And I'm kind of like torn because with things like that, obviously looking at it and knowing that he's not on there or going to be on there makes me sad, as you can see. But then also just it not being there is a big change and it's going to make me sad as well. So for me, it comes down to like what's going to make me least sad. And for me, getting things like that out of the house are the better option. So I did, before my parents left on Sunday, get my dad to help me move his cat house to the garage. And unfortunately, like I said, then there's this big gaping hole in my bedroom where now I'm like sad when I look over there that it's not there. But I was running out of room on the table in the kitchen for all of the import plants, so I did buy another table and I have set it up in the bedroom. Let me show you. Okay, so this is quite literally the view from where I'm laying in the bed. So this is actually good for several reasons. One, it gives me something to look at other than an empty spot where his house used to be. But two, because the sun's starting to track so far north now, I'm not getting as much direct light coming in these windows, and I'm getting even less light coming in the kitchen windows where the other table is. So this is actually going to be more light in this room right now for these particular plants. So it's going to help them kind of root more quickly. But these aren't always going to be here, right? The idea is just not to always have to have a table here in the bedroom. So let me flip you back around real quick and talk about some of my thoughts. Okay, so like I said, that table, not an ideal situation. It's great for the plants right now. It's great for me because I'm not having to look at that empty space. But when it's not there, I'm trying to decide what I want to do there. And also, like, I really want, I don't know how to put this. Like, I kind of want a plant to commemorate Toby by, and it kind of feels awkward, like, just buying one. I don't know how to explain it. So I had done a post in one of the Facebook plant groups that I'm a part of here, kind of letting them know what happened and asking them to post pictures of their kings and queens of their jungles, because Toby was definitely the king of this indoor jungle. And it was really nice. Everybody really did like post pictures and offer condolences, and I just really loved seeing all of their cute fur babies. And of course I reminded everybody, give them an extra hug today, an extra kiss, because you never know how quickly things can change. And there was somebody in that group that reached out and said that she did want to give me a plant, and so I've been talking back and forth with her. And I kept telling her like anything you want to give me is fine. She was kind of asking what kind of plants I'm into or whatnot, and of course I said a lot of different types, clearly. But honestly, you guys, it doesn't matter what type of plant she would have given me. It's all about the gesture. And I just kept thinking like, okay, well, that would be great. That would be a great way to have a plant that kind of commemorates Toby without it being a plant that I bought. I don't know, it's just different when somebody's like really feels for you and understands what you're going through and gives you a plant. Then to me, that holds more value than me trying to pick a plant to commemorate him with, if that makes sense. So I've been going back and forth with her. She does work in sort of close to my area. So we'll see if that works out, if we can coordinate to meet up or anything like that. And if so, then great. And so what I think I want to do though is do like a commemorative plant grouping where his house used to be here in the bedroom. And I'm just not sure what that's going to look like yet. I don't know that I'm necessarily in the mental place right now to actually piece all of that together. So we will probably do that in a future video, but there
is this spot in the bedroom. There is a spot now up in the upstairs living room where he had houses as well. Now, unfortunately, I can't really do much up there right now because the window next to that space still has a solar screen on it. So, not going to get enough light until I can get those windows replaced and whatnot. So, we'll have to figure out, I don't know, something else to do up there. But basically, I'm trying to fill the voids in the house with planty things where possible and other things where not, so that it's not just this empty space where something used to be that's kind of upsetting me. Now, another area in the house that is now kind of empty where we might be able to do something planty is actually in my laundry room. So that's where I kept Toby's litter box. There is a west facing window in the laundry room. It does have a solar screen on it, but it is a downstairs window. So I do have a ladder tall enough to just go take it off outside. Now, I've never taken it off before because I didn't put plants in there because that room gets so dusty from all of the cat litter from the litter box. So, but now I don't have that problem, which is also upsetting to me. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know if anybody else has felt this way before, but it's like, it's upsetting to me. Like, I complained in the past about how dusty that room gets from the cat litter. So part of my mind is like, feels like a traitor to me because it's like this subconsciously my mind's like, well, at least you don't have to deal with having a dusty room and having to dust as often anymore. But I don't actually feel that way. Like, I feel like that's my brain being traitorous because obviously I would rather still have a dusty room and have Toby here. But anyway, it's same thing with like having to vacuum up his cat litter. Like, he made a mess throughout the house with his cat litter. I was constantly having to vacuum. And there's like this little like voice in the back of my mind is like, well, you're not gonna have to do that anymore. But then the other side of my brain starts crying because I'm not gonna have to do that anymore. I digress. Anyways, I'm thinking maybe I should put some plants in there. I'm also thinking maybe I should put some shelving in there because I don't really have enough room to store all of my boxes that have like my soil amendments in them, which ironically are his old litter like pails, like the buckets of litter you buy. I'm using those, so now that's making me cry when I use those. I will eventually get over this whole like crying with every little thing, you guys, but right now, like I said, I just want to take what is a negative space when I look at it and do something to make it positive. So why don't we go take a look at the laundry room so you can see what I'm talking about.
All right, you guys, so I'm probably gonna have to mess around with the lighting a little bit while we're in here. I mean, it's quite dark in here because of the solar screen that's on that window. So really, I probably should have just taken it off anyway when I first moved into this house because as you can see, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's pretty dark in here. But anyways, so obviously washer dryer cabinets up above, but then over here, there's this little cutout area which I'm guessing is designed to be like, I don't know, maybe so you could iron over here because there is an outlet there and this is where my vacuum is usually plugged in. It's just I was using it in the other room. And or maybe to put like a drying rack for clothes or something, but regardless, this was the perfect space for his litter box and it was one of the things that appealed to me in this house because some of the other houses I looked at when I was buying houses didn't have a good place for me to put his litter box. So, and also like up here, there is a shelf and like a rack to hang clothes on. So that's why I'm saying I'm thinking maybe this was like intended to be a place to like have a drying rack or an iron or something of that nature. So once again, west facing window. However, I think you can kind of see out of it right now. My neighbors do have a 2-story house. This isn't like the world's largest window, you know, there's a lot of space below it. So it's not like there's going to be a ton of light coming in here. I could definitely like set plants on the ledge in the window and that would be enough light for them at least this time of year. In the winter, depending on the plant, it could be questionable. I could potentially hang one. I just need to make sure that the air coming out of this vent wouldn't hit it, but the way those slats are on there, I think I would be okay. So that's also a possibility. Also a possibility, we could like hang some plants from the actual rail over here. But once again, the other thing I was considering down here was I could do some kind of shelving system to store like my soil components and everything on. And then depending on how tall it is, we could also, sorry, when I point you guys, it gets off focus. Come on, camera. But I could also put plants on top of the shelf. Now, I'm just worried that that might not be enough light from there to the top of the shelf, especially in the winter. But like I said, we could try hanging one there. I think would definitely be fine. Windowsill would be fine. hanging at least one from there would be fine, as long as I just make sure the air's not going to hit it. So I'm thinking that might be what I want to do in here, just to kind of, not make this so sad, because I do cry when I walk in here right now, you guys. Just part of how it is. I also need to go up here and sort out all this, because some of that paint, I'm sure, is just not good anymore. But let's think about what plants might work in this window. And also, real quick, for those of you who didn't understand what I was saying, these are the litter containers that hold my soil amendments now that have just been sitting out here, and I don't really have a good place to store them. So that's what I'm talking about, creating that shelving system for in there, is to store things like that and other planty related things that currently don't have a good place in my home. Well, since that forced me to get up out of bed, I figured maybe I should try not going back to bed until I actually need to go to bed tonight. So we've relocated to the living room, but I do have a lot of plants that I still haven't quite figured out where I'm going to have them live permanently. As you guys recall, I did show you the newest plants that I had gotten a few videos back, and some of them I knew where I was going to put, some of them I still haven't fully decided. So we could potentially put some of them into that west-facing window. Now, once again, the problem with that window is it can't really be a plant that requires a lot of high light, except sort of in the summer. Not really though, you guys, because the problem, if I didn't have a 2-story house next to me on that side, it might work. But the problem is the light's just not bright enough in the morning, and it doesn't get, it gets a lot of direct, harsh light in the evening in the summer, but it doesn't get it for a very long period of time. So in my experience, the west-facing windows, at least the downstairs ones in this house, are not going to get enough light for me to put, for example, like a succulent. If I'm being honest with you, I don't even feel like it would be enough light for my Hoyas. Just anything that requires a lot of light, I don't think it's going to work, and it's definitely not going to work in the winter because of the shorter days. It's getting even less light. Even though it is a little bit more direct in the winter, it's just not enough light. So it needs to be something that can handle not having a ton of light. But the other problem is it also needs to be something that can handle getting direct harsh light in the afternoon during the summers. Now in the winter, I find most of my plants, even if it's direct light coming through a west window, it's not long enough or harsh enough in the afternoons in the winter to really be a problem, but in the summer it can if it's a sensitive plant. So that's why it's difficult to figure out plants to put into those windows. That also is not a window that has been replaced. Like the one in my kitchen is new, so it's got that better barrier against the harsh sunlight rays. So I'm really going to have to kind of experiment a little bit. I'm looking at what I have living in the kitchen window right now, and I'm like, is there something like I might be able to put some type of syngonium. So for example, the Syngonium winlandii that I recently got might be able to tolerate the light in that window. The Epipremnum would definitely be able to do it, the variegated one I got, but because it's variegated, I really want to keep it in more light. So, maybe what we could do is potentially take the Epipremnum Cebu Blue, which is up above me right now somewhere. I'm probably pointing the wrong direction for you guys. But maybe we move that one, or even maybe the Baltic Blue, although it's a little bit big for that window. So maybe we stick to the Cebu Blue. We could put that in that window, and then we could move the variegated one to be up here above the couch. That's a possibility, and that would be good for a hanging plant if I want to hang one. But yeah, I just think that's what I want to do. And honestly, you guys, my brain is so like mush right now from being upset and everything that's happened that, I might not even be thinking of something. So if you guys have an idea, help my mush brain out and give me your ideas. Comment down below and let me know. And I do think when we get around to doing, well, I don't even know about that. I don't even know why I'm trying to tell you guys what I'm going to do right now because, like I said, my brain's mush. But I've had a couple of thoughts in the bedroom of like, because the windows don't go all the way to the ground, like I could do some kind of like built-in shelf system along those windows there. And I have also always wanted to live in a house that had like a window bench where you could sit and read. So I could do like a built-in shelf unit and have one area of it be kind of like a bench where I could sit and read or something like that. I've also thought about doing a lot of like plants on poles. The problem is that getting directly in those windows is
especially in the wintertime, it's direct sun. And this time of year, it just gets really warm. So once again, a little bit tricky when it comes to picking plants, but I do find because I replaced those windows are so much better that I really feel like I have more options of plants that will tolerate it than I did before I replaced those windows. But yeah, it's just something I'm trying to figure out. Once again, if you guys have ideas, please give me ideas. If you've ever had the unfortunate experience, as I know a lot of you probably have, of losing a pet, if you did something plant-wise to commemorate them, I would love to hear what you did. But yeah, those are the two big areas. And then like I said, upstairs, I don't even want to think about it. I'm not up there enough or in that room enough right now for that one to be as big of a deal for me. But I do want to do something in those two areas. Now, honestly, another big issue for me has been my office. That's part of the reason I haven't really been working in my office. And let me tell you, my neck is not happy about it. Laying in bed and working on a computer is not good for my neck. Definitely need to go see my chiropractor, but I've got to get back to working in my office. It's just hard because he would always come in there while I was editing videos and meow and want to be petted and then jump up on the desk and lay on the desk next to me. You guys have seen, I've shared pictures before while I was working, and so I'm not sure what I want to do in that situation. Like, part of me was like, maybe I just rearrange the furniture, but there's not really a great way to rearrange it in there, and I don't really know if that would make me feel any better or worse. So once again, if anybody has any ideas or suggestions, let me know. But right now, it's not where I want to work. Now, fortunately, we are at the point now where it's warm enough outside in the mornings that I can go sit and work outside on the patio. So I have done that once. We unfortunately are also about to go into the time of year where it's going to get super hot, super fast, and then I'm not going to want to work on the patio because I'm going to be sweating. I don't know. That's just a whole nother situation that I've got to like figure out. But that's kind of what's been going on the last few days with me. And I really need to do this soil. It's just cluttering up my counter. Should we just go ahead and sterilize the soil, you guys? You know what, you guys? Actually, let me take you around first and show you all of the plants that I dry rotted and had to move into water so you have a better idea of exactly what plants and how many were affected. And honestly, you guys, it's not good. It's not good timing. I mean, of course it's not good timing. This kind of thing happening is never good timing, but the fact that I dry rotted all those plants is really bad timing because I do have another pop-up shop coming up on the 27th of this month, and then I have another one scheduled for that following weekend on June 3rd, and I really needed some of these plants for those events, and I don't foresee these plants developing enough roots in water in time for me to also then get them potted up and the roots to continue to spread before I have those two events. I'm also realizing I don't think I ever gave you guys an update on how the last pop-up shop went, and I was not able to record it because once again it was just me. So let me walk you around and show you the plants first, and then maybe we'll talk about how the last pop-up shop went. Okay, you guys, so I do still have some plants from the very first order that I had broken up to be more than one plant still in water. So that's what some of these are, including these Majestics here, which honestly, I don't know why these aren't rooting. I even have a pothos cutting in here and have had in there to try to help it out. I don't know what the deal is with this one. We do have a varicosum over here, and this is one of the ones that did end up getting dry rot. Now, this one actually didn't get all of its roots dry rotted, as you can see, but it was just so few left, and I was just worried that if I potted them back up, they were going to keep rotting, that I decided I'm just going to put it in water until it gets some newer roots. These melanochrysums here are still from the first order. They are getting roots. It's just been taking long time, like longer than the other ones that I put in water, because I have already potted up some other ones that went into water at the same time as this. So once again, I don't know what's going on. There's a pothos cutting in there too. But as we come along here, here's some of the other stuff. So I do have more varicosums that got dry rot. One of these splendids, possibly both of the splendids. Nope, I think it was just the one splendid got dry rot from the most recent order. And once again, do have pothos cuttings in all of these to try to help get the roots to kick off more quickly. There's another varicosum or two or three in here. Oh, this one back here is the Glorious from the most recent order. Dry rotted that one. Let me tell you guys. This Gloriosum over here is actually from the first order. It does have roots. It's just, once again, been taking a little bit longer to root
than normal, and its pothos cutting is not wanting to stay in there. There we go. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the story is on that one. Albos. Monstera albos, you guys. Definitely dry rotted. Monstera albos. Let me come around here. So I think I currently have 3 in soil. This has, let's see, I think there's 2 in here. Possibly 3 in here. So this little baby one is from the most recent, actually no, I take that back. I didn't get any in the most recent order. This is from the order before that. So I managed to dry rot stuff from the previous order as well. So this was from that order. This one was also from that order. And then this one over here, so if you'll remember from the very first order I showed you guys a while back, the second Monstera that came in that order wasn't doing very well. It looked kind of droopy, but there was still a good root that we could see in the pot. Well, not anymore. I dry rotted it with everything that was going on. So because that was a rather large plant, when I went to prop it in water, I decided to break it up. So this is a 2-leaf. This is the bottom cut of that plant. There are just the 2 leaves on there now. So I've got that one rooting there. And then, let's see, I think this is the top cut over here. And I did notice this one is actually, I think this is the one. Yes, this one's actually already getting roots on it. It's only been in here for like, well, definitely no more than 11 days, but probably more like 8. So that's good. That makes me happy. So like I said, I didn't totally kill this plant, but now I'm just having to restart it, but it looks like it's going to work pretty quickly with this one. And I don't even have pothos cuttings in with this guy. Get him back in there. Really probably should have done a wider jar for that one. But yeah, let's see. Are there any other? I think that's all the albos that got rotted. I rotted quite a few of the Soderoys from the most recent order. So there's one there. I need to give him a pothos cutting. And then we've got another one in here. I don't think I rotted all of them, but I think I rotted like probably all but 2 or 3 of them. What else is hiding in here? Another Soderoy. All of the cobras, the Monstera standolianas, that's what else is in here. All but 1 of them, no, 2 of them, although I'm looking at another one right now. It looks like maybe I dry rotted it. We'll look at it in a second. 1 is in the IKEA cabinet and it is actually doing okay. Everybody else is now back into water, except for the one we'll look at on the cart in a second, but we might be having to put it into water here shortly as well. Another Gloriosum from that very first order I did, that once again is just for whatever reason taking forever to root. Okay, it looks like, oh, this is a splendid, but it's not from dry rot. I actually did end up breaking up at least one of the splendids, if not both of them, that I got in the most recent order. In the last video, I think you guys saw I was contemplating doing it, saying I wasn't. Well, I did. So this isn't dry rot, it's just regular water prop. Another Soderoy in here. Kind of move this over and see. I'm gonna end up tripping over the vacuum. Let's see. So more Soderoys in here now. I think probably at least one of these, I think this biggest one was actually one that I water propped because I broke up one of the plants in the most recent order. So that wasn't dry rotted, but all the other Soderoys in here were dry rotted. That Adansonii that you see down in there. Fun times, you guys, fun times. Let's see. I think that is all of the ones in water on this table. Now I do still have some in water in my bedroom, and then we have some down here on the floor. So let's get down here. Okay, so every single pink princess, you guys, I have another thing with a few in my bedroom as well, but every single pink princess, and you guys know, I mean, here's more under here. You know, I was already worried about not being able to make a profit off of these or sell them for as much as I need to be able to make money. And now I'm even more concerned because they got dry rotted, also starting to lose more leaves. So for example, you can see on that one it's turning orange. And so some of these, like that would leave that one with 3 leaves, but some of them it's going to leave them with like 2 leaves, maybe even 1 leaf. And yeah, basically I'm now going to have to I'm going to have to hold on to these longer before I can sell them for what I need to, because once I pot them up, I'm going to need them to get bigger and get more leaves before I can charge the price I need to make money.
Once again, over here we do have another cobra in water. I think the rest of them that are in water are in my bedroom. We do have a couple of philodendron Florida ghosts down here in water. Now one of those isn't a dry rot situation. I did break one of the Florida ghosts up into 2 plants when it originally came, so that's in there. But another one of those, actually there are 3 in there. So 2 of those that are in there are dry rot situations. We do have an actual Soderoy still in soil back there, so yay for that. And let's see, so I think that's it in here for people who are in water. Now, by some miracle, you guys, the anthuriums, they're doing pretty good. They're doing pretty good. And some of them are actually even already spreading new roots. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, guys, so here's one of the smaller ones that we got, but if you look down here, sorry if I'm excessively shaky, do you see the new roots spreading there? And there at the bottom is actually looking like it's going to try and work its way over to that drainage hole. But yeah, that's amazing. So I potted these up on 4/25, so April 25th. Today is May 17th. That's pretty darn good, and I ended up putting none of them in the IKEA cabinet. They have all done fabulously out here. Now, I will say I am a tad bit more concerned for the ones that are way bigger and in bigger pots. And even though they're in bigger pots, you guys, they had such extensive root systems, they had to be in those pots, but they're making me a little bit nervous. Obviously, they're a little further back, but that's just because I needed to put the shorter plants in front. But all in all, so far so good. I should probably knock on wood. And to be honest with you, I don't know how I didn't dry rot any of it. Actually, I do. So as I mentioned before, they have way thicker, chunkier roots, so they can go longer without water, without their roots shriveling up, than the plants that I dry rotted. That's exactly, although that really doesn't even hold true because Monstera albos also have big roots like that, and I still dry rotted those. So go figure. Also, while we're here, little Plowmanii chunk. So I did notice in that first order, I had the 2 Plowmanii. As you guys know, I kept one. One of them, I don't remember which one it was, had a growth point growing on both ends of it. So I chopped off this end because it had a lot of roots. It was already rooted, put it in here, and I just noticed just this past week that it's starting to push out its first new leaf. So that's exciting. Let's go ahead and head back into the bedroom, and I'm going to show you the rest of the plants that are now in water because I dry rotted them. Okay, guys, so like we already discussed, all the pink princesses, here's the last 2 that are in water in here. There is another Monstera albo, which I forgot about. I can't even remember. Maybe I cut another one up into multiple plants. I didn't think I did, though. I don't know, you guys, but there's another one that got dry rotted. Oh, there's another one here. How do I have this many? How many were in that? I guess that makes sense, you guys. I think I have a total of 9 now. So I guess that makes sense. I think it's 9. Anyways, this one you can see is looking quite yellow. Like, it got yellow before I pulled it out. But it does have, let's see, I think it does have the start of some new roots, but I think those leaves are just gonna maintain that slight yellow tinge. I don't think they're gonna die off, but I do see new root action happening in there. Not as much as probably we were seeing on that other one. So making a comeback. Everybody's gonna make a comeback, don't worry about it. But it's just, like I said, unfortunate timing, and it's gonna take longer to get these plants up to where I need them to be. Here is another glass full of the Monstera standoleanas. There is another Adansonii that I dry rotted in there. I'm telling you guys, it's a hot mess. More of the standoleana. Now, just a reminder, I did end up breaking up all the standoleanas because they were all super long in that last order. So I did break them all up into at least 2 plants. So that's why it seems like there's so many more than maybe you remember, because I only got 10 in that order. But every single one so some of these were already in water just from propagating from that standpoint, but every single one I had actually potted up, which I did pot up 10, all but the one that's in the IKEA cabinet got dry rot. So here we are. But everybody else has been doing pretty well. Most everybody on this table is from the very first order anyways, and I will say the other Monsteras are doing great. Actually, if we come around here, this one is the one that I think was the most beautiful out of all of the ones that came. I absolutely love it. It has also rehabbed the quickest. It is spreading roots. The camera will focus. You see that white root in the bottom there. We got more roots going on over there. So it is definitely doing a fabulous. I did actually already list it for sale in some of the Facebook groups in the area, and I seriously thought this would sell so fast. And nope, I still have it. I still have all of them. There's another one from the first order, or actually, I think that might be from the second order. And then this big old guy over here, this is still from the first order. But yeah, like I said, I can't be too upset because everybody else fared okay. I'm kind of questioning if this one's okay. Looks a little yellow. I don't know, you guys. I might have dry rotted that one too. There may be some other ones here and there I find where turns out I did dry rot them, but I'll get them all back into, sellable order. It's just going to take a while. Okay, you guys, so now you've got an idea of just how many plants I've dry rotted and had to start over in water again. But let's talk about the last pop-up shop, since I didn't get to tell you guys yet about how that went. So unfortunately, the weather ended up being really kind of bizarre that day. It was really chilly that morning and highly windy, to the point where I couldn't even set up out front of the store like the initial plan was. So I ended up setting up inside, just right inside the front of the door, so everybody still saw me when they came in. And it was also just kind of overcast, and then literally right at the end of the pop-up shop is when the sun came out and the wind stopped blowing as hard and it started to warm up. So I kind of feel like probably not as many people came out because the weather was so weird that morning. And also where we were going to set up outside, and the place that I was doing at, they were grilling out and having food for people and things like that. But normally where they set up outside, the side of the store that we would have been on faces this huge mall that is in the area. And so they usually get people who are driving in and out of the mall, see something's going on, and they pull over and they come check out the event. So it draws in people who didn't just hear about it via the advertising that we did for the event. So yeah, I feel like it could have gone better. I did have a lot of people come. I really wanted to sell the majority of the plants that I brought. I did not sell the majority of the plants that I brought. I am trying to remind myself that it is my first pop-up event. People don't really necessarily know me in the area. They don't know what to expect. I don't have a backing, a solid reputation yet of, yeah, she does great plants. Like, the more of these I do and the more people that get the plants, the more word should spread. You know what I mean? And so all in all, I mean, I made money. I made decent money, but not quite as much money as I wanted to make or was hoping to make. I made about a third of what my kind of goal was. But once again, I'm trying not to get too discouraged. I'm not going to lie, I was discouraged that day, but just kind of reminded myself, like I said, this was just your first event. The weather was weird, things like that. You're going to go out and you're going to book more events. So like I said, I have booked additional events. I did want to book one more for this month because I really think I needed it in order just to make enough money to get by this month. And even I am getting close, you guys. I'm at least halfway each month, I think, of what I need to be like, for example, what I was making at my day job. I think this month, by the end of the month, I will actually be more like 2/3 to 3/4 of the way. But I really wanted to do another pop-up shop this past weekend, and I think that would have helped push me there. And I was getting ready to reach out to a place to do it at when everything happened. And obviously not going to do a pop-up shop when all that was going on. But I did make some progress on merchandise for you guys. So this initial merch drop that I'm going to be doing is just going to be branded like Aloha Plant Life logo on various items. I did try where possible to do some of the things that most people were interested in. Whoever it was that was asking about zip-up hoodies and the fact that nobody does zip-up hoodies, I figured out why nobody does zip-up hoodies. Now I am doing a zip-up hoodie just for you. But the reason nobody seems to do them is they're way more expensive than a pullover. It's ridiculous. Like, I was like, what I would have to charge for this is potentially too much that somebody wouldn't want to pay. I think that's why nobody does them. Tried to keep the price as low as I could for you, but when I started like shopping it around, I seriously think that's why you probably don't see it offered a lot.
But there are going to be quite a few items. I'm just waiting right now. I did order samples of a few of them in because I want to make sure that when they print, they look good. So I ordered some for myself. They haven't shipped yet. Actually, I feel like they should have already shipped. I don't know. I should probably go check on that. But they should be here before the end of the month. So hopefully I can launch that merchandise for you guys before the end of the month. And maybe that will help make up for the difference in not being able to do this pop-up shop this past weekend. Now, honestly, I will say too that I was a little bit shocked about what sold and didn't sell at this last pop-up shop. Like, I didn't sell a single Gloriosum, which shocked me. I didn't sell the Plowmanii that I brought, or the Philodendron Dean McDowell, which I thought would have sold. What sold most were Philodendron Melanochrysum, so good thing I got a lot of those and chopped those up into multiple plants. Also, Philodendron Florida Ghosts. Those sold like hotcakes. So, I'm trying to think. I think I sold one Majestic. I've only sold two in total. One I sold to somebody on Facebook earlier this week. I sold one of the Monstera Adansonii, variegated Adansonii, to somebody on Facebook earlier this week. I'm trying to think. Splendid. I sold the Philodendron Splendid that I brought. My brain is once again slight mush right now, you guys. So yeah, but I feel like that's what sold. I didn't even sell the Glorious, so I was kind of shocked by that. It's kind of making it hard to know what I should order moving forward. So that's kind of why the subsequent orders I've been making right now, I've just been trying to get different things than I already have, because right now it's hard to say what's going to sell and what's not. And once again, it was just my first shop, so pop-up shop. So I don't have a good idea yet, but that's basically how it went. I'm really hopeful that this next one will go better. It looks like the weather is supposed to be better, so that's good. And yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. Like I said, if I end up not moving as much, once these are a little bit more rooted, I will offer them on my website and we'll mail them to you guys if you buy them. I just want to make sure they have like a lot more established roots before I drop them in the mail, if you know what I mean, because more roots the better to survive that kind of thing. But yeah, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on healing. And like I said, all the stuff with the plants and taking care of the plants and doing these things, it's a good distraction for me. It should help. I know it's going to get better a little bit every day, but right now, I mean, it's still not 100% over, by the way, you guys, because I do bury my pets, and that might be weird to some people. But once again, on this channel, we are very much to each their own. So if you think it's odd that I bury my pets, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Just please don't go make a comment about it down below or anything like that. Just be polite and accept the fact that we have different opinions on what to do when something like this happens. But anyways, because the weather has been weird here lately, it's been raining on and off almost every single day. They can't actually do the burial yet, so I am still waiting to hear about when that's going to happen. And then when that does happen, I always go out there for that. And then at that time, while I'm out there, I will also deal with ordering the headstone for him. And both of my prior two pets that I owned, or two cats that I owned since moving out on my own as an adult, are buried in that same cemetery as well. So I will visit them while I am out there additionally. And then that will kind of be the last piece. Like, I feel like, every day is going to get a little bit better, but I feel like it's not going to be 100% until that closure has happened with that piece of it, if that makes sense. So I was thinking we might go sterilize that soil now, you guys, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't really feel like doing it right now. So I think we're going to save that for a future video, and I do want to do the sign off on this video a little bit differently today, because I kind of want to do an in memory of Toby slideshow for you guys, because you guys only ever got to meet him as an adult. You never got to see what a cute little kitten he was, and trust me, he was super cute as an adult, but he was even cuter as a little kitten. So before we get to that, I do want to say thank you for joining me today. I know this has been kind of a sad video, a little bit of a heavy topic video, but it's my real life, and where possible, I like to share that with you guys, whether it be good or bad, and I appreciate all of y'all's support and understanding with what's been going on. I will say I don't know if you're going to get a video next weekend or not. I haven't filmed anything for it, and I may need to take some healing time, but I will let you know if that's the case or not. But in the meantime, Here is a lovely little look back through my beloved Toby's life.